Hey everyone, it's Noodle, and I'm going to show you my Toxic Rain Pathfinder build. Toxic Rain is a new bow skill introduced in 3.4 Delve, dealing damage in a unique way by creating pods from each arrow that grows and then explodes. It's a very unique skill because of its multiple steps of function. It is fast, fun, and has great single target. Toxic Rain's damage scales well, even with little gear investment. So once you can use the skill at level 12, you can level with it. This makes Toxic Rain a good build for league starts, new players, or those on a budget. Although you can get crazy damage output if you throw some currency into it. The damage of Toxic Rain is amazing, but the element this build focuses on in particular is that each spore pod applies 10% less movement speed to nearby enemies to a maximum of 60%. With this build, we are placing enough pods to get crazy damage and that 60% reduced movement speed. And in addition, we're using the cursed temporal chains, applying maim on hit with our quiver and totem, and hinder with our totem and Val Blight to make enemies ridiculously slow. We can freeze Shaper Guardians in their tracks when done correctly. This is not only amusing, but a huge defensive boost for us. If you've messed with Toxic Rain at all in Path of Building, you might be a bit confused as to how to scale the damage, and that is because the 3 points of damage aren't separated in Path of Building, which makes it hard to tell how to scale. In fact, Path of Building tends to suggest nodes and items that scale our explosion hit damage. So how do we determine our real damage? Well, we've done the math. You are welcome. Let me explain. Path of Building can give us our damage over time per pod. You can see this number here. It can also give us our attack speed in that summary, and if we go to calcs, we can find the number of projectiles and our skill duration. With this information, here's the formula to calculate your damage. It is pod damage over time times pod duration times attack rate times number of projectiles. And if you're using Mirage Archer, you'd multiply this by 1.4 as well. So what this is calculating is the number of pods created from your average attack and the damage they do while they exist. Depending on how long you are attacking and how many pods there are, this number can fluctuate a lot, but this gives us a better baseline to understand our actual damage. While I really wanted to use Herald of Agony, we really don't get much benefit from using Scorpy Boy with this build. Herald of Agony gets us chance to poison and poison damage, but this does not translate at all to our damage over time. While he does some damage on his own and we can keep up Virulence quite well, we do plenty of damage without him and could use the mana reservation for defenses like Arctic Armor and Clarity. We take Pathfinder Ascendancy for the attack speed, defenses, and chaos damage. I recommend taking Nature's Boon, Nature's Reprisal, Nature's Adrenaline, then Master Alchemist. You can switch the last two. Take Adrenaline if you are lacking damage, and Alchemist if you are feeling squishy. Here are the items that are necessary for this build. Number 1 is the Quill Rain. Nothing beats the attack speed of Quill Rain. More attacks equals more pods. A Shaper Quiver. The ideal quiver would be Shaper with explicit bow attacks add additional arrow. Attacks have 20% chance to maim on hit. And also a Corruption giving bow attacks add additional arrow. Then Dodra's Damning or Windscream, or any other item that fits that will give you dual curses. Using Witchfire Brew gives us a huge damage boost, but we still want our own curse to be Blasphemy. Some good items that are a little more expensive are the Dying Sun, because more projectiles equals more pods, and a Helm enchant with Toxic Rain fires an additional arrow, because more projectiles equals more pods. Now, a fun element of this league is we are able to get fossils in the delves to craft with. There are 2 fossils in particular that are useful for us, the Aberrant Fossil, which gives chaos modifiers, and the Pristine Fossil, which gives life modifiers. You can find Aberrant Fossils in the fungal or abyssal areas, and you can find Pristine Fossils in the magma areas. We can craft a Helm with the unique new explicit that nearby enemies have -9% chaos resistance, and plus maximum life, increased maximum life, by using these 2 fossils together, as you can see on my Helm here. We can also craft jewels that have up to 30% chaos damage, as I mentioned earlier. Ideally, these jewels will also have life on them. You can increase your odds of landing on 30% chaos, 7% life by using both an aberrant and pristine fossil, but I actually crafted mine using only aberrants. Here are the important gem links. I have Toxic Rain in a 6-link with Toxic Rain, Mirage Archer, Vicious Projectiles, Void Manipulation, Swift Affliction, Concentrated Effect. Efficacy and increased duration are also valid 6 links. Based on my math, Conc Effect gives us enough damage per pod to make up for the increased duration from either efficacy or increased duration. In addition, I don't feel there is any lack of overlap of pods, so I do not think we suffer loss from reducing the pod's area of effect. However, since the AoE of the pod's damage over time is undetermined, this is up for debate. For our totem, I have Rain of Arrows, Ranged Attack Totem, Withering Touch, Faster Attacks, and Maim on Hit. With our Quiver, which has a 20% chance for attacks to maim on hit, we now have 50% chance to maim, which is a unique element of our slow and a big defensive boost. Our main form of defense is slowing our enemies down. This comes from Toxic Rain itself, but also our Temp Chains, Maim on Hit, and Hinder. Our secondary form of defense is flasking like they owe us money. I am basically constantly flasking while I clear, being a bit more mindful during boss encounters. But while clearing with our tree and ascendancy, your flasks should be constantly available to use. When clearing, we can throw down our Rain of Arrows totem to hinder our enemies with Withering Touch, then shoot everything with Toxic Rain from a safe distance and piano flask like crazy. We can phase run to get out of packs and corners. Val Blight can be used to add extra slow in a pinch. For bosses, we need to be more careful about our flask usage. This is also where our Val Clarity can be super useful if we happen to run out of flask and need more mana. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to come stop by my stream, twitch.tv/KittenCatNoodle, or drop a question on my forum guide with the link below. Thanks for watching, and stay sane, exiles!